Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Jackson, and I'm the president of NAMI Charlotte. NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening and learning how to survive the holidays. NAMI, we are an organization of families and friends and individuals whose lives we're trying to affect for mental illness. Together, we advocate, we provide support, trainings and education classes for individuals as well as family members struggling with a mental illness. Our job is to try to make sure we eliminate the stigma associated with the mental health diagnosis. We believe that mental health should be for all, and part of our efforts in regards to advocating for the individuals as well as the families are to ensure that people have mental health parity, that we see mental health as health the same way we view a physical health problem and concern. So this time around the holidays, people get sentimental, they start to miss loved ones. So we believe that this is a good opportunity to share around ways for which we can survive the holidays. So with that being the case, I'd like to pass this over to Natasha and to start our presentation. Thank you for joining us.
I said all of that and I forgot to unmute myself, guys. Please forgive me. Let me go back to the first slide. Living in this Zoom world for so long. I am Aisha L, therapist here at the Up Company, and I will be presenting this short workshop tonight on how to survive the holidays. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor at the Up Company. I work mostly with trauma, teenagers, and women. And when I say trauma, that's more specifically childhood neglect and family dysfunction, which ties right into our topic tonight of holiday stress, because during the holidays, we spend a lot of time around our families. So a question that I was asked was, is it normal to feel stressed during the holidays? And I just want to take a moment to normalize that, because yes, definitely. I was looking at a study that was done for an article, and it said 88% of Americans report that they feel stressed during the holidays. 88%. That is a huge number, right? And when we look at the other percentage, it could just be not wanting to say they feel stressed. But when we look at the things that go on during the holidays, we're traveling. We're trying to catch flights. We're trying to get home to see family. We are shopping. We are trying to make time to work and make the holiday party and make the family parties, right? So our time is cut short. Financial stressors. How am I going to make Christmas happen? I need to get presents. I need to get presents for the kids. I need to get presents for other family members, for co-workers. So that brings upon a whole lot of stress. Oh, and holiday cleaning too. That becomes stressful. So there is definitely a lot to be stressed about during the holidays. And if you are in that 88%, I'm in that 88% too. Let's take a minute to just normalize that, right? Holiday challenges. What are some of the challenges that come up during the holidays. And the two that I wanted to focus on tonight, family fights and loss. The reason why family fights come up a lot during the holidays is typically, traditionally, the holidays are spent with families, and our families are not the people we choose, but it's the people that we were born into that family. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's like, I don't know about these people. However, they're our family and we love them, and we get to pick and choose when we spend time with them. And sometimes that can be a bit chaotic. Also, loss. When we look at the holidays, after a tragedy, after losing someone, what does that look like? That begins to shift traditions. If we lost a family member that we traditionally go to their house for Thanksgiving, or we traditionally go to their house for Christmas, it kind of shifts everything and things start to look a bit different. So, diving deeper into family fights. Again, families typically not the people that we choose, right? It's just the family that we're born into. So it's we might not have a lot in common, or we may have different views. And it's not something that we have to deal with all year long, right? Because you live by yourself or you live on your own with your immediate family, and now you're connecting with the bigger unit. So there are family fights, lots of tension. What what does families have to fight over, you ask, right? Political differences. And when we look at this year, over the past few years, maybe for the past 4 to 6 years, there has been a lot of political stuff going on. A lot of us feel different ways, and we all feel strong in our opinions, which we are entitled to. But when we get around family and they start politicking and talking about politics and what they believe in and how they're going hard for this social issue or social justice issue, sometimes it can leave us feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes we can stand up and share our view, and that's met with arguments, fights, drama, right? Disagreements over traditions. Should we have Christmas and Thanksgiving over Zoom like we all had to do last year? Who feels safe? Who doesn't feel safe being around other people? Also, if anyone has ended a relationship, going through a divorce, now you have to split time between a couple of households. What does that look like? Or someone that was usually welcome to the family celebration isn't welcomed anymore. That brings upon different elements of family fightings during the holidays. Opinions on pandemic protocols, right? So there's been this big thing of vaccination versus being unvaccinated. And I'm not here tonight to say who's right, who's wrong, but how that affects our family gatherings. You have people who, if you're not vaccinated, I don't want you to come around, or everyone's vaccinated and someone may say, I need everyone to wear a mask in my house, right? I need everyone to have social distances. Oh, I'm not doing hugs this year. Everyone has an opinion on what's right and what's wrong. And everyone's definitely entitled to that opinion. But what happens when we have two people who are very strong in their values, right? Then that brings among more family fights. So, how do you handle those family fights? Can you think ahead and kind of plan out what that's going to look like for you before, right? If you feel strongly on everyone around you should be wearing a mask, you always have that opinion. Or do I go, right? Do I have to go? Do I risk being around people who aren't going to follow my beliefs? Loss of loved ones. Again, we have grief going on. If Your grandmother was the pillar of the family that held everyone together. And if you lost your grandmother during this time, what is that going to look like for you? Do you still go? Do you still be around family? Do you want to take some time alone, right? Do you continue with those same traditions? What do your emotions tell you? Sometimes it may be okay to continue, right? And sometimes you may not want to be around family. Either way is okay. Strained family relationships. When you've made a decision earlier in the year, my family's toxic. I don't want to be around them this year. And then you come to this, well, but I want to be around this person and not that person. And you're not really, you can't really control who's going to show up to that family gathering, right? What is that going to look like when you walk in? How is that going to feel for you emotionally? Is that going to be something you can handle? Or is there going to be an argument? Or what is it going to feel like if you say, no, I'm not going? I'm not going if this person goes. What is that going to cause for the rest of the family members? Is that going to cause an argument? Are people going to be mad at you? And again, I'm just sharing different things, right, that we become stressed about during the holidays. What most people say is the most stressful. How do you move past these things? Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Taking time to yourself to create the boundaries, taking time to yourself to figure out what feels good for you. When we go back to loss and grief, right? If you've lost a family member within this year and now the holidays are coming up, do you want to be around family? Is that going to bring you comfort? Sometimes being around family brings comfort. Sometimes being around your family stresses you out even more. The beauty of it is you have the time to figure out how you think that you're going to feel, right? And start to create those boundaries. Do I need alone time? Do I want to sit this holiday out? Do I want to create a new tradition? Am I tired of being around my family? Do I want to go spend my holidays on a tropical island somewhere secluded? Do I need some alone time? Those things are okay. Also, when we look at boundaries, most people in families, you have the certain family members who are the cookers, right? The bakers. That is not me and my family. And I am glad I'm not a baker. I am not a cooker. But that brings on stress when we look at having to cook for a large amount of people and still having to work and take care of kids, and do the things that you want to do. And now you have to cook for everyone. If you don't feel like cooking this year and you need everyone to fend for themselves, it's okay to say that, hey, not this year. Or maybe I'll do it, but I'm going to do it on a smaller scale. I need to protect my peace this year. Avoid busyness where possible. If you already deal with anxiety, I know there's a lot of people that deal with social anxiety and being around crowds, right? We know this time of year, pandemic or no pandemic, everywhere we go is going to be crowded. The mall is going to be crowded. Restaurants are going to be crowded. The airport is going to be crowded. The bus station is going to be crowded. If you don't have to be in those places, why put yourself there? You don't have to, right? There are, Amazon Prime, love Amazon Prime, because you can just order whatever you need. You don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore, right? You can get that delivered right to your house. When you look at going into a grocery store and you know that you're going to be overwhelmed, but you also know that you need these things to make it for dinner, right? Think about other ways that you can get that accomplished without putting yourself in a place where you're risking not feeling well, right? Where you're risking being overwhelmed or having a panic attack or just using a whole lot of energy and then going home that night and being so fatigued, right? We know the busiest travel days are Thanksgiving and then Christmas, right? Do you necessarily have to travel on that specific holiday, right? Is it having that time off? Do you want to use that traveling? Do you have to? And in some instance, you may have to, right? Because your family's not here and you may have to travel to see them. But what things can you do to protect yourself to avoid overcrowding? Can you go a day before? Can you take extra time off? Or can you go later? Right? Do you have to celebrate the holidays on the actual holiday? No, you can acknowledge them and you can acknowledge the meaning, right? But when we talk about being in a family gathering, if you want to, you could celebrate that at a later time. You can opt not to go. Also looking at the things that bring you joy, making sure that you have time for the things that bring you joy. If you like to be out in the hustle and the bustle of the holidays, if you like to do all of the holiday festivities, going to see the lights, going ice skating, right? Make sure you make time to do that. Don't get caught up in all of the things that you feel like you have to do that stresses you out, and make more space for those things that bring you joy during the holiday season. And it doesn't have to correlate with the holiday, right? It it's not wrong that for Christmas, if you love swimming, you want to book a room at the Great Wolf Lodge and go swimming. That's not a holiday tradition, especially not here in the South where it gets cold. But you can do that if that's what makes you happy. Planning ahead, knowing those things that bring you joy. So when you are in the moment, you already know what to do. Something that I like to use during really stressful times is music. I love listening to music. I love holiday music, but I like all types of music too. And so I have playlists dedicated to certain things. I have a playlist that's called a mood booster. So if I'm in my feelings over the holidays and I need something to lift my spirits really quickly, but I also have no motivation to make myself do anything, I just go on my phone and I tap and I play that list, right? I played that list that was already created, especially when you know that typically during this time you feel down. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. Seasonal depression. Seasonal depression is real. And we know that it affects people mostly around the colder months and the holidays. One, because it's dark outside, it's cold and it's gloomy sometimes. And we bring the grief back up, right? Losing a pillar of your family or a really close friend, a spouse, or a child, and then having to spend that holiday without them, right? So then that's already stressful for you year round. And it's almost like planning your triggers. You know that that's going to trigger you. What are you going to do differently this year so that you don't spend the whole holiday season down? Planning ahead. Do you need to make sure you book with your therapist? Right? I know most therapists are busy around this season because a lot of seasonal depression does hit. Book an extra session if you need it. If you want to be alone, again, carve out that time for you to take some space by yourself. If you want to be surrounded by people, if you want to feel love, make sure you surround yourself by the people that you actually want to be around instead of the people that you may be forced to be around. Further on boundaries, saying no more. No, 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 no. No is one of the first words that babies learn, but then when we become adults, we forget that we learned that word no. No is a complete sentence. It has a period after it. If you don't want to do something, it is okay to say no. If you feel like you want to explain, that's fine, but you don't have to. No is a complete sentence. And no comes in very handy around the holiday times, right? If it's something that you don't want to do, if nobody else has told you, and if you're feeling like that you must say yes to every commitment, then I'm telling you now, I give you permission. If you if you need someone to give you permission, I give you permission to say no to anything that doesn't bring you peace, that anything that doesn't bring you joy, anything that doesn't bring you happiness, or whatever it is you're looking to feel more of during this holiday season. Again, reducing our busyness, planning out the time, the things that we need to do to bring us more joy, making time for relaxation. If you plan to cook and you're going to be standing on your feet for 10 to 12 hours cooking, make sure that you book a pedicure or a foot massage shortly following, right? We get to relax too. You have days off of work. You don't have to fill every day with an activity. Some days can be a rest day. I know I like taking naps. Um, One of my favorite holiday traditions is putting on my PJs and laying around in the house watching Christmas movies in my PJs all day long, drinking coffee. That's what I like to do. That's relaxation at its best. The holidays are a really busy time. There is a lot of stress. So make sure that you take some of the time that you get off of work, if you get time off of work, for relaxation and fun. Fun could be stepping out of your comfort zone. Go ice skating. Try something that you've never tried, that you've always wanted to, or that maybe you're a little skeptical of. If you do it and you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. Creating moments for peace and joy. That means peace and joy means different things to different people. My peace is solitude. It is sitting in silence. It is sitting by myself. And so I'll make that commitment that this holiday season, I will definitely make time to sit in solitude so that I have my peace. And my peace brings me joy. Me sitting in solitude, it brings joy to me. What brings you joy? What brings you peace? And how can you make time and make the space to get some of that in this holiday season? Yes, the holiday seasons are meant for hanging out, being around people, being joyful, but you also have to make time for you. You also have to make space for you. Make sure you have the capacity to deal with other people. So, wanting support, if you need support, if you are really struggling during the holiday season, if something that I went over in this workshop really hit you and you're like, okay, I'm really feeling stressed out. I don't know how to shake this feeling. I heard the tips that she shared. I don't know if that's going to work for me. I think I need more help than that. Reach out. NamiCharlotte.org/resources. They have tons and tons of resources for what you may need, whether that's therapy, individual therapy, group therapy, family therapy, whatever you're looking for, you can definitely find on that resource page. Also, one thing I don't want to forget to share, if you are joining us from Facebook Live, or another streaming device, make sure, even if you didn't register earlier, register now, right? We need your email so we can keep you posted, so you don't miss out on all of the resources that NAMI Charlotte has to offer, or any of the other segments that they will be providing. It's definitely a resource that you don't want to miss. I know you probably get flooded with tons and tons of emails already, but this one right here is definitely going to be a helpful one, right? So now I am going to open up for any questions. If you are joining us via Zoom, use the chat. If you are joining us on Facebook, shoot the questions and I will be checking, and I will take time to answer all the questions that I am able to. And if you have a question that you don't want to answer, you don't want to ask publicly and you want to remain anonymous, you could always find me at upcompany.org. And my email is there. I will respond to emails if you need it. So I have one question. What do you recommend for people who are missing a loved one during this time of year? Right, right. I think a lot of people are dealing with missing a loved one. So there are a few different things that you could do. Um, Writing a letter, right? Because we know it's hard if you usually had this conversation or time with a loved one during the holidays and they're not here, for you to physically talk to them, but you can still talk to them, right? Write a letter. No one has to see it. It's personal to you and you get your feelings out, right? If there's someone that you feel close to, if there's another family member or a good friend, a trusted friend that you feel close to, indulge in conversation about past memories, good memories. Bring up those memories, right? Because they keep that person's spirit around you and it keeps that person alive and well within you. Also, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, ask your emotions, what do you need? What do you need to be around people? Do you need to feel loved? Or do you want to be left alone? Right? Sadness is a normal emotion. Unfortunately, we have to feel the negative ones just like we feel the positive ones. And it's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to make it go away. We can invite sadness to pull up a chair and sit with us so we can process it. Another question just came up. How do you include family who have anxiety issues with without threatening their safe space with all others, right? So if you have family members that deal with any mental health issues, such as anxiety, ask them what they need to feel comfortable. Sometimes we kind of assume that people know, right? Or we assume that they'll be okay. Just ask them. What do you need? What can I do for you to make this a comfortable space for you? And when you get that answer, accept that answer, right? If they say, I get social anxiety and being around family and being around too many people, that's going to overwhelm me. So I'd like to just sit this one out. Say, okay, right? Don't push the issue if it's something that they don't want to do. You treat people right how they want to be treated. And by doing that, you simply just ask people, how do you want to be treated? What can I do to make sure this is a comfortable experience for you? So I'm going to check in with Facebook and see if we have any questions coming from our Facebook feed. Anybody have a favorite holiday tradition that's outside of the norm, maybe that they would like to share? Or the norm? Someone said riding around in random neighborhoods, looking at the lights. I like doing that myself. So we will get ready to wrap the workshop up. If you are watching the replay, you can still comment here with questions, and I will hop on Facebook a little later because I want to watch the replay myself, and I will answer some of your questions if you still have any. Again, you could find me at www.upcompany.org. Make sure you are following NAMI Charlotte. Make sure you sign up with the link. And if you are looking for other things to do to help out during the holidays, NAMI always has volunteer opportunities and they are always accepting donations. So if you are looking to get involved, make sure you check out their volunteer pages. There are plenty of opportunities to be involved with NAMI Charlotte. www.namicharlotte.org.